Lakshmi. It is almost 4 o'clock in Sri Lanka in the morning.
Wow.
Yes, good morning. Not, I think 9 hours. Today is, this is 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the evening.
That's correct.
Good time.
The evening program is at 4:15 in the morning.
Okay, ready to get started?
Program will come.
Okay, should we get started?
Yeah, we can start. We have 2 minutes. Okay, friends, I was talking about Nama Rupa. This is a very important subject. So, all our problems arise from not knowing mentality and materiality. Once there was a deity who came to the Buddha and asked a tangle inside, a tangle outside. The generation is entangled in a tangle. I ask you this, O Gautama, who can disentangle this tangle? So the Buddha said, a person established in virtue, wise, developing the mind and wisdom, a bhikkhu, ardent and discreet, he can disentangle this tangle. Now, developing mind and wisdom, meaning developing samatha vipassana. Developing mind means developing concentration, practicing samatha meditation, and wisdom refers to vipassana meditation. So Buddha always used these two, samatha and vipassana, as necessary practice. He did not emphasize one over the other. He always mentioned and gave equal weight to both samatha and vipassana. In order to disentangle this tangle, one must practice both concentration and insight, samatha and vipassana. And this is a very important thing because when one gains concentration, one can see things exactly as they are. Seeing things exactly as they are is the practice of vipassana. I mentioned the word vipassana means seeing things as they really are. In order to see things as they really are, one must have concentration. And therefore these two, tranquility and insight, or vipassana, samatha and vipassana, concentration and mindfulness, must go together, giving equal weight to both. One helps to gain concentration, other helps to see things as they are, using this concentration. That is pretty clear everywhere in the Buddha's teaching. And one who is ardent and discreet, that person can disentangle this tangle. Further, he said, those for whom lust and hatred, along with ignorance, been expurged, destroyed, gotten rid of, the Arahant with taints destroyed, for them the tangle is disentangled. Now, lust and hatred and ignorance, that is lobha, dosa, moha, three roots of unskillful thoughts, words, and deeds. Unskillful thoughts, words, deeds come from greed, hatred, and delusion. So long as greed, hatred, and delusion dominate our mind, expected results is unskillful thoughts, words, and deeds. As unskillful thoughts, words, and deeds dominate our life, life is entangled. We call messed up. Our life is messed up. And therefore, in order to get rid of this entangle, or free from entangle, one must keep keep this greed, hate, and delusion away. And so one has to destroy that. If one really wants to get rid of this entanglement and have a clear life, or clean life, pure life. Above all, he also mentioned something very, very important. That is quite relevant to what we are discussing today. That is, where name and form ceases, stops without remainder, and also impingement and perceptions of form, it is there, this tangle is cut off. This is directly related to our current topic of Nama Rupa. Name and form ceases. Mentality and materiality continue to create this entanglement, because mentality and materiality are not well understood. As long as they are not understood well, we expect us to be tangled and entangled in everything. And they should stop without remainder. Patigang rupa sanyacha, asesang etta namancha rupancha, Asesang uparujyati. Patikang rupa sanyacha ettesa chijyate jata in Pali. Patigha rupa sanya. We will discuss patigha when we come to contact. Patigha is getting real like Vyapada, not Vyapada, Patigha is coming in contact. It's another name for passa, getting contact. This word Patigha is used when one attains formless bases. As we mentioned yesterday, they are not called jhanas, but they are called bases. Akasanancha ayatana, vinyanancha ayatana, and so forth. When we want to attain that state of mind, that kind of development of a mind or through concentration, that state is, the formula itself is says that patika sanyanang amanasikara, without paying attention to any contact through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, whenever they come with sensory objects, consciousness arises, and then contact arises. So when we attain this state of basis, akasanancha ayatana, perception of the space, the awareness or memory of contact should be forgotten, amanasikara. Because the space you cannot contact. Space is the space. And therefore, rupa sanya, perception of form, both should be abandoned from the mind when one attains that state of that base. And therefore, the word Buddha said, the patigang rupa sanyacha, perceptions of impingement, patisya is impingement, should be abandoned. It is here in this state that all the entanglement will be disentangled or will be free from entanglement. That is the state of arahanthood. When one attains arahanthood, this entanglement will completely vanish, disappears. That means by destroying this entanglement, by freeing from this entanglement, one attains liberation. It is called arahanthood. So we'll continue this talk after our meditation. Now let us begin our meditation first. Okay. May all beings be happy and secure.
May
May all beings have happy minds, whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth. May all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, One should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not following erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. Friends, once again, this is a reminder of our daily wish of loving friendliness, wishing all those who are in pain and suffering. We want all of them to be free from that, and we want to continue our wish for others who are suffering or grieving over the passing away of their loved ones. And we want to wish a success for those who are making effort very earnestly, sincerely to find some remedy, cure, vaccine, pills, or something. And also we want to wish very sincerely those who are supporting them in many ways, supporting these patients, trying to help them to recover, doctors, nurses, and all others who are supporting them financially and otherwise. May all of them be peaceful and happy and free from sickness and return to their normal life. With this, let us begin our mindfulness or insight or vipassana meditation. Let us focus our mind on our breathing. While breathing in without using words, simply pay attention to the touch of the breath at the rims of your nostrils, and then notice the rising of chest area, rising of abdominal area. As we breathe out, abdominal area contracts, chest area contracts, and we feel the breath leaving our nostrils. As we breathe out, we notice the pause in between inhaling and exhaling. We notice that even though it is very subtle and quick, we can notice it very briefly. Even there we don't use words or concepts. And then we feel our breath, we pay attention to the breath, we perceive the breath, and we are conscious of the breath. And they change as we breathe in. And also they change as we breathe out. And not the same feeling, perceptions, thoughts, and consciousness do not stay even for a fraction of a second when we breathe out. So they change as we are breathing in and breathing out. Just as the breath is changing, they too change. And then when we develop our awareness of this reality without any tension, the body becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. The breath becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. Mind becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. When they are calm, relaxed, peaceful, we experience a degree of peace. With this, we let go of our greed, because greed always is a pain, as we mentioned in our dependent origination formula. When greed arises, pain arises along with that. So we let go of that greed, and then resentment, whatever resentment is there, that also fades away, disappears, and our metta will take root there. Our compassion arises from that, and then because of this letting go, metta and compassion, joy arises, happiness arises, and concentration arises. We started with mindfulness and then end in concentration, exactly as mentioned in the Noble Eightfold Path. Number 7 of Noble Eightfold Path is mindfulness. Number 8 is concentration, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. And this is how it happens. When concentration arises, we notice even the subtlest changes taking place in us. It may be in the form of vibration, sensation, needle pricking, whatever sensation arises, they immediately pass away. Nobody needs to worry about them, have fear of them, let them arise and pass away, just like anything else, with calm, relaxed, composed state of mind, with concentration. Simply notice them happening. Don't struggle, don't worry, don't have any fear. Just be aware of what you experience. Dukkhappata ca niddukkha Bhayappata ca nibbhaya Sokappata ca nissoka Hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta thought, friends, we want to wish again that those who are suffering from this disease be free from that suffering, and those who are grieving over the death of their loved ones be free from their grief. May those who have fear of getting this virus should be free from their fear, because there is some cure someday and it will be vanished from the earth. They don't have to have any confusion or with regard to the practice that we want to continue, wishing well-being and happiness for all living beings. As we mentioned earlier, we want to wish with this pure, clean mental state, we want to wish all those who are helping these people like doctors, nurses and other helpers, we want them to be clear, mindful, have wisdom, compassion to continue their very noble, selfless service that they perform even at the risk of their own lives. And we also want to wish those who are supporting in many ways, financially and otherwise, be courageous, wise and compassionate. And those who are making decisions for the well-being of all, everybody suffering from this, may they all have wisdom, insight, understanding and compassion to make right decision for the well-being and happiness of all beings. With this, let me continue my talk on mentality and materiality. I started saying that life is entangled inside and out, and the way to get rid of it is to get rid of our greed, hatred and delusion. How can we get into entanglement in the first place? How we get entangled? I want to quote what the Buddha said in Majjhima Nikaya, Salayatana Vibhanga Sutta. That discourse is a very profound discourse and directly related to how the entanglement begins. He said in that discourse, because the one who does not know and see the I as it actually is, when one does not know and see forms as they actually are, when one does not know and see the I consciousness as it actually is, when one does not know and see eye contact actually as it is, then one does not see and understand the feelings felt as pleasant, painful, or neither pleasant nor painful, that arise with the eye contact as the condition, then once inflamed by lust for the eye, for forms, for eye consciousness, for eye contact, for the feeling felt as pleasant, painful, or neither pleasant nor painful, that arise with the eye contact as condition, then when one abides inflamed by lust, fettered, infatuated, contemplating gratification, then the five aggregates affected by clinging are built up for oneself in the future, and one's craving, which brings renewal of beings, is accompanied by delight and lust, and delight in this and that increases. One's bodily and mental troubles increase. One's bodily and mental torments increase. One's bodily and mental fever increase. And one's experience bodily and mental suffering. Now you can see how this entanglement begins. In the first place, we must understand mentality and materiality. I, form, are, and their meeting. I and form belongs to materiality. The I, as we mentioned in earlier talks. Then consciousness arises. Consciousness belongs to itself. That is not the part of mentality. Although sometimes we have to make these things very clear and keep them separate, so that in our future discussions it will be easier. Mentality category or group, there are five things: feeling, perceptions, thoughts, contact, and attention. Now, mentality and materiality group, four elements. Mentality group and materiality group belong to one bundle of that two bundle that we mentioned earlier, that Venerable Sariputta used in his simile in Mahahatti Padopama Sutta. Mentality, materiality in one group, and consciousness is in another group. Therefore, when we say mentality, we must keep consciousness out of that mentality group. Sometimes people tend to think, since we have five aggregate, the form belongs to the materiality group, and the other four, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness, belong to mentality group. That is not how it is divided in Samyutta Nikaya and Majjhima Nikaya. But among these five aggregates of clinging, surely body belongs to materiality group, and four of the other plus attention added, then that five belong to mentality group. Now, then consciousness stands by itself in this division. It doesn't mean that consciousness can exist without mentality and materiality. But in this description, this explanation, even in Mahanidana Sutta, which we will discuss later on, the consciousness is discussed as separate from mentality and materiality groups. And therefore, when one does not understand the I as a materiality group, form belonging to materiality group, consciousness arises. How consciousness arises? Because of these two. Because these two, I and the form, cannot meet without consciousness. So consciousness in that case has to be there in order to make the three as a group for contact to arise. Therefore, contact cannot arise without consciousness. That also we will discuss in detail later on. So when one does not understand this, especially eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, if we don't understand them exactly as they are and don't see them exactly as they are, Buddha mentioned don't see with wisdom. Wisdom is the wisdom of seeing rising and falling. Rising and falling, meaning whatever rises, that falls according to dependent origination. Therefore, I is not something permanent. I arises, I's vision arises, depending on various factors, and when those factors become weak, as normally happening, I becomes weak or vision becomes weak. That we all experience in our life. From, when we are little babies, little children, eyes are so shiny, very, very clear, very clear. As we grow older, this clarity slowly, gradually changes. And a time comes, some people have glaucoma, or some people have eye problem, eye vision becomes weak, and so on. In addition, the natural thing is that eye becomes weaker and weaker and weaker. Then sometimes, modern days, we use cataract surgery to get our vision back. sometimes even that doesn't work for some people. Then they have to use glasses. And the glasses also will not work very well. We have to change the glasses. Not the problem with the glass, but problem with the eye. I cannot do things as I wish. I, I wish I to be steady, healthy, clear and sharp. But these eyes do not obey our wish. Why? This is the nature of existence. Whether the Buddhas come into existence or not, eyes are impermanent, just like anything else. Whether doctors are there or not, eyes are impermanent. They change. So the one who does not see this, no, I'm talking about the entanglement. How Buddha explained how we get entangled in not seeing eyes exactly as they are. When we see eyes exactly as they are, we liberate from entanglement. So Buddha said when we don't see eyes actually as they are, and do not see forms exactly as they are, do not see eye consciousness exactly as it is, eye contact as it is, because eye contact and then the sensation that arises, pleasant, unpleasant or neutral, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant sensation as they are. Uh, then they all are changing. Eyes are changing, forms are changing, eye consciousness is changing, eye contact is changing, and the sensation that arises, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutrals, are changing. Uh, when they don't see them as they change, then what happens? Uh, we become sort of gratification. We gratify asad. So without seeing this danger, these changes is the danger of I. I have asad, adinava. Now we don't see the asad, adinava. Adinava means the danger. Uh, danger is the change. It is changing. And ignoring the changing, that is ignorance in the dependent origination, number one. Because of the ignorance, we don't see the changes, and therefore, depending on not seeing, we enjoy the pleasure. That is called asad. Asad. Without seeing danger, we only see asad. We experience asad, gratification. Then, when we enjoy that, completely ignoring the danger, the Buddha said the, the gratification, then the five aggregates affected by clinging are built up for one's in the future. In the future. So we, without seeing the danger, we build up gratification. When the gratification arises, when we nourish and support and continue to have pleasure, asada, along with asada comes another danger, that is called clinging to five aggregates. Because from the eyes we have pleasure, from the forms we experience pleasure, for eye consciousness we experience pleasure, eye contact we experience pleasure, and when the pleasant or unpleasant or neutral or sensation arise, especially when the pleasant sensation, we enjoy that. But in all this, danger is lurking underneath. But that's the part we completely ignore, or we don't know. And not knowing that, we cling to the aggregates for the future existence. Now, in this life, we try to satisfy our eyes. I'm mentioning only eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and so forth. These are implied. They also, the same thing apply to them as well. Then we keep enjoying them, ignoring danger. Then we cling to aggregates in this life, and Buddha said we cling to aggregates in the future lives. How that happens? We wish this kind of pleasure, this kind of enjoy should be enjoyed perpetually forever, not only in this life, even in future lives. Sometimes people think that way, and therefore the factor that makes us feel that way is called tanha purnobhavika nandiraga sagata tatra tatra abhinandini. So it has this delight and delight here and delight there, and repeating this. Porno bhavika. Porno bhavika means it becomes repeatedly. It becomes repeated. That means the desire appears again and again, and desire and delight. Nandi rag. Nandi means delight, rag means clinging. Rag sagda tatra tatra abhinandini. The desire enjoys, desire arouses joy here, and after sometimes we lose interest in that, and have delight in something else, and then we lose interest in that, then delight arises in something else. So the desire keeps us enjoying repeatedly again and again without seeing the danger. What is the danger? Impermanence. Impermanence. We don't see that. Asad adina. So, porno bhavika nandi raga sagata tatra tatra abhinandini. So, when we don't see things exactly as they are, this is what is happening. And then it is very increasing, interesting. Then Buddha said, then one's bodily and mental trouble increase. This is how we get entangled. We get entangled. Bodily and mental trouble increase. One's bodily and mental torment increase. we torment ourselves through this gratification, ignoring the danger, and we try to keep only the pleasure without ignoring the other two. Then this way every single day we keep tormenting our own body, our mind. Bodily and mental torment increase. Once bodily and mental fever increases, we think of the fever that is very common these days because of this virus. No, friends, this fever is perpetual whether there is COVID-19 or not, or some other diseases or not. This fever is there. And that is how we get entangled in this life. So, mental fever increases and one experiences bodily and mental suffering. Now, this entanglement is the entanglement in suffering. All depends. So many things are happening depending on various factors, and none of them can happen. Suffering cannot exist by itself. This is how we increase our suffering. Not knowing and seeing six senses and the other things related to six senses. Sensory objects, consciousness, six consciousness, six kind of contact, feelings, and enjoying the feeling, not seeing the danger, we increase our fever and inflict pain and suffering. This is how our entanglement increase. So, what all this, where all this happen? All these are happening to mentality, materiality with consciousness in them. Now, this is very big subject, as I said. I will continue this tomorrow with more material for us to open our eyes and to see this entanglement and how we try to, how the Buddha was helping us to get rid of this entanglement. I think I will continue on this subject tomorrow. Now, once again, I want to wish all those who are suffering from this COVID-19. I think COVID-19 also has done something good. That is, it helps us all to come together. It helps us all to think of everybody together. It helps us to develop a metta and compassion towards everybody. Because of our metta and compassion, we always think that there are other living, suffering beings. And therefore, we must take the advantage of this to increase our compassion, metta, concern, and caring for everybody. And this is a very good opportunity. This is what is called spiritual urgency. Friends, this can happen to us anytime. Nobody is spared. Nobody is exempt from this virus. And therefore, this is the moment we all must think of Dhamma, the truth. We don't have to wait too long. We don't have time to wait too long. Because we are moving in that direction. It can happen. And therefore, this time we all must think and wish especially those who are, we are so far fortunate, we are not affected, but we are in a position to help others with our fortune and help them to recover, and at least very earnestly, sincerely, we must wish them peace, happiness, solace, and comfort. So we wish may all those who have been suffering be free from that suffering, and those who are grieving their loved ones who passed away be free from that grief. And as I mentioned, all those who are supporting in many ways to help those who are suffering and grieving to reduce and be free from that mental state. And there are many wonderful people with wonderful heart, with full of compassion, trying to do something out of compassion for all these living beings. I don't think their interest is in money, but their interest is in living beings, human life, and therefore they have very wonderful motive to do some research and come out with some vaccine and some pills or something to help them. And there are many leaders, very wonderful leaders, very compassionate, who are trying to help these people by taking very compassionate leadership, showing the way, showing the right way for them to recover. And there are many people who are in a very powerful position to make decision with compassion, and may all of them be successful, and may all of them will be happy, peaceful, and healthy, and live long with good health. Thank you very much for participating in this, and I hope you continue your practice.